We're back.
Yay! So first of all, when we started even thinking about, well, how would we even start plotting this, we were looking here and we don't even have common denominators yet, and that would make life a whole lot easier.
Yeah, because there's no numbers here. It doesn't tell us what order they go in or anything.
So that's going to be the first step. So if I'm looking here, I notice that I have denominators of 4 and also 8. So we need
2.
Oh, and 2. So we have to think to ourselves, well, what would be a good common denominator for all of 2s and 4s and 8s? And hopefully you're starting to see that, well, 8s would be the easiest to convert all the other ones into. So my 1/4, if I wanted to make those into 8s, would look like 2 8s. And then we can keep our 3 8s. Now 1/2 is equivalent to 4 8s.
I think this goes back to our very first learning goal.
Yeah.
1, 1.
Oh my goodness, it's coming back full circle. Yeah. So looking here, we have our 5 8s, that's good. And then our 3/4, we're going to multiply both of these by 2 to get 6 8s. So now, when we convert that and put that on our line plot, we should at least, it should make sense of what goes in what order. So looking here, even though we don't have a 1/8, we're still going to start with that right over here. And then we will fill in the rest of the little notches there. So we have 3 8s, and then hopefully when you see this 4 8s, that makes sense. Oh yeah, that's half right in the middle. And then we have 5 8s, 6 8s, and then even though we don't have it, we're going to still put our 7 8s here. So now that we have our fractions down here, we can still use this information though to figure out how many dots to put on. So let's just make sure we're understanding what we actually have to do here. So it says here, for 10 days, Mario measured the amount of food that his cat Toby ate each day. So the amounts that he recorded are shown in the table at the right, and now we just have to put those now on our little line plot here. So on 2 days, 2 times, he ate 1/4 of a cup, or we switch that to 2 8. So I'm going to put 2 little dots here for 3 8s for 1 day. 1/2 of a cup, or 4 8s, he did for 3 days. We want to make sure that looks pretty even there. For 5 8s, 3 days again, or 3 times. Yeah. And 3/4 of a cup, or 6 8, would be 1. So we want to make sure we have here 2 as our title. This is just saying cups of food Toby ate. So hopefully you have that and that makes sense and you followed along.
And now we get to the nitty-gritty fun part.
Yikes.
So now we need to use this to answer a few questions. So what is the total amount of food Toby ate over those 10 days? So each of these represents a day. So when you're finding out totals, you probably are realizing you should add. There's actually 2 ways you could do this, but I'm going to do the adding way first. So when it explains how you got your answer, you would say add the total, as in the total number of cups eaten. And unfortunately, we don't get out of it. We actually do have to find it. We don't just get to explain it. So if you were doing this in the addition way, I'm going to do 2 8s plus 2 8s plus 3 8s. Notice each one that has a dot, I'm making a fraction for. Now the other way you could have done it, you learned long ago, probably 3rd grade, that repeated addition is the same as multiplication. So you could have done, get this last one before I mess up what I'm saying. You could have done like 2 8s times 2 plus 3 8s plus 4 8s times 3. But I think that may have been a little bit complicated for some of you guys to try and remember. That's a lot of multiplication of fractions going on there. So now, just like I would have added before, I'm going to go through and add these up. So when I go through and add all these up, I end up with 40 8ths, Now, that is an improper fraction, so I have to simplify. 8 goes into 45 times, so my answer is 5 cups. Okay, that would have been the total. So B, what amount of food would Toby get if the total for 10 days was distributed evenly each day? So that to me is telling me I need to divide. So I need to take my total food, 5 cups, and divide it by my 10 days. So if you remember when we did this, I'm going to do this over here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see it. If I have a number that looks like this, I can't necessarily tell in here, but if I add a decimal and 1 0 after it, 10 goes into 50 5 times, I multiply, I have 1 after my decimal and 1 after my decimal, so it ends up 0.5. So you're taking things from Unit 1, things from Unit 5, and we're doing all kinds of review here too. So how much would he get each day? 0.5, which hopefully you guys recognize is 1/2 a cup. Okay, so the last thing you guys need to do is attempt number 7 on your own. So again, there's a frequency table. Again, it's fractions, so look back at how we solved that. Come up with what needs to go under these. Don't forget your title. And then obviously you need to read what this says. And then these lines over here are for you to write a question that could be used to use the line plot to solve it. So do that and the guiding question, and we will catch you tomorrow.